These are the stories, man, that no one talks about because they're boring and bless you. And all they do are, they don't actually care about what's going on. They just see that one team is doing something to another team. So when a divided House approves a GOP inquiry into weaponization of government. So that title alone, ain't nobody clicking on that. They're like, oh, here we go, politicking. No, I want a sound bite that's going to piss me off that I can retweet easily. No, you got to read this boring ass bill to know what's going on. And ultimately what we have is a government at war, and it breaks my freaking heart, man. I have no problem admitting that I lean toward Republican type issues in terms of, like, I just want a small government that focuses on infrastructure and making the people's ability to succeed easy, right? It's not a complicated belief system that I have towards politics. Small government that does the best it can with what it's got, and then a society that is empowered to succeed, okay? Not handed success, not promised success, no. You are allowed to succeed if you're willing to do it. But you have an issue when you have a government that is so large that it has enough resources to attack itself and attack its own citizens. And depending on how much you follow the news, you see that this has been happening a lot over the last years, many years. And it's a shame, because one thing that typically would set American politics apart from other countries was we very seldom would go after each other outside of a political race. Sure, there would be shit talking, there would be back and forth, there would be accusations, but ultimately the power of the government was seldom used to oppress, to investigate, to oppose our own government. Because there's a problem when that starts to happen. When that starts to happen, the people in power have the authority to attack. So based off of who's in power, the rules of good and bad start to devolve a little bit. Because now what's right and wrong is subjective. It's based off of the opinion of the leader instead of proven unalienable rights that are not given. They are simply yours. You are born with them. So as we have a government now that, even though I agree with a lot of the reasons and what they are planning on investigating, the problem is what happens if the most likely outcome of corruption occurs? Because don't get me wrong, in a world where people follow the rules and have moral compasses and do what is right, an investigation will only lead to a good outcome, because the truth will come out. And that's what happens when robots do things. But what happens when humans are involved? When there are careers to be made and destroyed, when there is money to be made and lost. When you have this much power given to anybody in government to be able to subvert certain laws and rules, when does that system of laws and rules starts to really break down? And I'm not saying this is, this shouldn't be happening. I believe investigations need to happen. There's been a lot of corruption happening. But what do you do when the highest authority in the land is the corrupt one? How do you circumvent the world that is the U.S. government, man? It is the most powerful government in the world with the most resources and authority. And right now, it has never been in such a stupid place. We have governmental systems being used to silence people on Twitter. Why? The resources involved in the government being involved is such a waste. It is a waste of our money. And I just don't think there's ever been a better example of the state of our current union. We are a nation divided because of headlines. And that's nothing the government can fix. That's up to us. We have to care enough to stop playing this game. You know, when I first heard about this, I thought to myself, what exactly makes you want to talk about this? Because I know it's not, I don't want to talk about the House bill. I don't want to talk about the specifics, you know, because that's not what the point is. The point is right now we have a shattered country. At our highest levels, our country is shattered. And if you look at your country like you look at your house or your home, if your family is shattered, who's truly responsible for putting it back together? It's us. We are. We can't look to people. We can't look to organizations. We can look to people, but we shouldn't look to these organizations, these governmental entities, these corporations. Stop looking up for salvation and look in. Look in the mirror. Look towards your neighbor. We are the ant colony, and they are the grasshoppers. So fuck these grasshoppers up, and we got this. We truly got this. Hold our leaders accountable. So if this House bill, if they start to abuse their power, we go after them. We do not accept corruption ever as an option. We say no to corruption every single time. So as we live our lives on the day-to-day, we focus on the us. We don't let the leaders forget that we got an eye on them too, bitches. We're watching. We're watching every day. Power's within you. They don't give you shit. You're the one. You're the battery. You're the battery. That was a Matrix joke.